What is going on, y'all? Welcome to the Recruiting Ain't Easy podcast. Welcome to the podcast where we're going to be talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. And I have a very, very special guest coming on in a few minutes here. Her name is ERICKA Burney. You might know her from Instagram and YouTube. She's a phenomenal person, somebody I've watched for a very long time. I've had her before during one of my other live streams. And she is a former drill sergeant on the trail at Fort Jackson, and she is now currently serving as a recruiter for the regular Army out of California. I'll have her introduce herself in a moment when she logs on. But with that being said, if you're new here, let me know what state you're tuning in from. And if you're one of my loyal Team Swartz squad members, you already know what to do. Drop that hashtag Team Swartz down below. So I work from the oldest comment, working my way up to the latest, greatest, most recent comment. I will not purposefully skip you unless you're being disrespectful. And if you did post a comment and for some reason on your end, it looks like I skipped you, I assure you, I did not skip you. It's not on my side. I'll still go double check. Don't be rude about it. But I will go back and double check and make sure that I didn't. But understand that I do have some keywords and phrases blocked for various reasons. So just please keep that in mind when we're here in the stream. Sorry, I'm running late. Hopefully you guys can hear me loud and clear. ERICKA is here. All right, she's about to hop on. This is her right here. So please go to her YouTube channel when you get a chance. Subscribe to her channel. All right. She posts a lot of awesome vlogs about her day in the life as a soldier in the United States Army. And like I said, as of right now, currently she is recruiting. And if I'm not mistaken, she'll correct me if I'm wrong when she hops on here, that she just recently dropped her packet. And I believe it was approved that she's going to become a career recruiter like myself. I don't know if she's going to do 20 years, but we'll see what happens. Oh, here she is. So without further ado, I'm going to add her to the stream real quick. Oops. What did that do? I messed up something, I think. Dang. Hang on. Uno momento, por favor. Let's see if this works.
I think we're on, I think.
Without cutting off my mic. All right, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Perfect. I can hear you, Lima Charlie. Make sure I got the fancy mic on. So that's so weird because I'm using my AirPods to hear you.
Mm-hmm.
It is not allowing me to use my fancy mic. So do I sound crystal clear or no?
You sound clear to me, but I'm using my headphones too, so.
Well, I guess I'm going to use the AirPods. No fancy mic tonight. So everybody, this is ERICKA Burney. Again, like I was saying before, she is a active duty regular Army recruiter out of where in California?
Southern California, so around like the Riverside area.
Gotcha. So there you go. And she does remote enlistments too. So you can be anywhere in the United States as long as you have enough patience and the ability to be able to do things remotely. She can definitely help you out in joining. So definitely go hook her up on ERICKA Burney on Instagram, or was it Sergeant Bernardo?
Yeah, ERICKA Burney on Instagram or Army_Bernardo.
There you go. I'll link it down below once the show is over with. But I do appreciate everyone coming in here. And real quick, if you're new here and you don't know who I am, my name is Louis Swartz. I help thousands of people just like you across the country make better, more informed decisions throughout their joining process, get better prepared for Army-based training, both mentally and physically, recruiting, and anything you want to talk about Army. We do not talk about politics. or some really, really hot topics. That's not what this is all about. I'm here to help you. We're here to help you answer your questions and address your concerns. So without further ado, real quick disclaimer. This is a personal page. I do not represent the United States Army, DoD, the Army National Guard, or any other government entity. Anything I share with you is within my own experiences, opinions, and wealth of knowledge that I've obtained over 24 years of service and 20 years of recruiting. I'm also Joe Sir qualified, but I am not as qualified as Bernardo here. She is legit. All right, 3 years on the trail. So with that being said, we have a wealth of knowledge here to help you out. So let's get started. So we got the first comment coming in from Luis Rodriguez. And he says, oops, hang on. Lost my spot here. And he says, hashtag Team SWARTZ, hope all is well. Dropping in the show to show support. Question with the Sophia credit, 60 or more since 60 credits is equivalent to an associate's degree. What is the highest rank attainable since it's tier 1? And our bonus is possible. And also, could you explain the 5-point line score waiver? And working right now, I will look at the questions later. So with that being said, what I was trying to explain to you before in the DMs, don't worry about getting 60 college credits because you're not going to be able to, for the most part, convert those into an associate's degree because the college has to convert those into a college degree. So you're actually wasting effort. So what I was trying to recommend to you, which I don't think you understood and I failed to communicate to you, is that you only need 48 college credits to come in at private first class. The only way you can come in as a specialist is if you actually have a 4-year degree, and then you'll come in as a specialist. All right. So yeah, I'm sorry, brain fart there. So yeah, 48 or more college credits or a 2-year degree is a private first class E3, E4 specialist with a 4-year degree. So it doesn't matter if you have 48 or 60, just stop at 48. That's all you need. You don't need 60. All right. And to qualify for bonuses, at least for the Army National Guard, you'll need at least a 50 on the ASVAB test. And it'll change in April, but 19 Delta and 31 Echo corrections basically are the only 2 MOSs in the New York Army National Guard that are eligible for bonuses. And there are other stipulations, but we'll go over that once we get you fully qualified. All right, so we got Austin Winters here. Can't wait for today's live stream. Let's get it. What's up, Erica? Wanted to thank you as well for your help in answering questions that they had a few months ago, and they said hashtag Team SWARTZ. So
I like it. I appreciate it. I try to help as much as I can. I mean, I haven't really even told SWARTZ that I've gotten a few enlistments because of him. Legit, just people from a different state hitting me up and was like, hey, SWARTZ trusts you, so I trust you. And I'm like, okay, that works for me.
Oh yeah, I never know if they actually reach out to you, but I'm always funneling people.
They do, a lot do.
That's freaking awesome. I love it. That's what it's all about. There was another active duty recruiter, female recruiter I had on the show about 3 years ago, give or take. She actually hit me up back in October after she already PCS'd and moved on from recruiting. And she actually thanked me and claimed that a lot of her success that she believes that she had as far as success is concerned in recruiting was because of our one singular live stream. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Really
so
cool.
Hopefully it has just as much effect on you, obviously. So we got Silly Oos. How is it starting first class? Bernardo and her station relationship specifically with the local Army National Guard office. Chill, cutthroat. I'm a guard recruiter out of Alaska. So this guard recruiter out of Alaska is basically asking, what's your relationship like with the National Guard in your local area?
Honestly, I think I haven't even met our National Guard recruiter. So if that says anything, but we're all, because we have, Air Force, Navy, Marines, and all next to us, all usually active duty and reserves. And if usually with the Marines, if someone isn't qualified for them, they bring them over to the Army office because we are easier to get waivers in. But when it comes to the Guard and all that stuff, we haven't even talked to them. And yeah, people that usually come in is always, I want to go active duty, so we haven't had to deal with any National Guard. And if I do get questions about National Guard, the person I do go to would be Swartz anyways.
Hell hell yeah. So, yeah, so what I noticed is for some reason, how do I say this? For some reason, there always seems to be a rift between active duty recruiters and the National Guard. I don't know if it's because of just healthy pride that converts to toxic pride and just ignorance of not knowing about the National Guard or accepting the National Guard as a component of the Army. I don't know, but
Hmm.
I honestly feel like it's the recruiters who are going to dictate the relationship. And
Yes.
if more recruiters all around, to include National Guard recruiters, because it's not just one way with active versus Guard, it goes both ways. But if more recruiters are just more about helping out the applicant and getting them to the right location, that's what it should be about because there's
Yep.
more than enough people to enlist in all branches, right? I can sit here, someone's like, oh, I really want to go active duty, and I could put my sales person hat and be like, no, you should go National Guard. And then they join and then they get buyer's remorse and then they end up going
Hmm.
active later on. You know what I mean? So just
Yeah.
put them where the people want to go and just take care of them. And the people that you're helping will give you the referrals because
Hmm.
you thought about their best interest rather than the number on the board for the month. I mean, that's just my two
Yep.
cents.
Yeah, because I've had recruits that were out of state, and the only reason why they did come to me is because the recruiter wasn't giving them what they wanted, and I was able to see just a little bit more work in their file and all that stuff. But I was able to get whatever they needed, and then they enlisted with me instead.
Yep. Hmm. So it should be all about the applicant.
Hmm.
We got Assassin here says, what's something in basic training that people look forward to? I think that's going to be on the individual, honestly.
Hmm. I mean, it's definitely eye opener and definitely a culture shock, but um,
For sure.
you just look forward to, honestly, going to basic training, you look forward to graduating. That's the main thing. You got to remember your why, the reason why you're joining, all that stuff. Because when you go to basic training, a lot of the trainees forget about their why and why they joined, why they left, because they all they think about is, oh, I miss my family, I want to go back home, and then they don't graduate. So main thing is just keep looking forward and look forward to graduation because that will be the thing that keeps you motivated to actually graduate. Because I literally have one trainee there. She left, misses her family, but I just had to tell her like, you're doing this for a reason. You can't just leave for only 2 weeks and then be like, oh, I want to go back just because I miss home.
Yeah. For me, I look forward to the obstacle courses and earning the title of a soldier at the very end,
Hmm.
like graduation. Some people, it could be they want to shoot weapons, they want to throw hand grenades, they just want a change of life. You know, some people are, I hate saying this, but they feel like this is their last resort and they
Yeah.
just need that financial stability and benefits and, you know, put their family first and whatnot. So again, I think that's going to be subjective to the individual who's joining what's important to them at that time.
Hmm.
We got YF, if I can get my mouse over there. There we go. Says, is 35 Lima an entry position as in you go to the school right after basic training? We don't have any 35 Limas in my state, so I don't know if it's an entry level position or a more senior rank, like a non-commissioned officer.
It For us, it is a entry level position, but you have to have certain test scores for it, as well as having to do I think it's called the D Lab, um,
Hmm.
and then also being a U.S. citizen, especially because you need a certain security clearance for it. So you are able to get it. It's just if you qualify for it.
There you go. I know 35 series in my state. One of them, I can't remember if it's the Foxtrot or Mike, one of them need the D Lab as well.
Hmm.
Also says, does the Army have fixed wing aircraft or is it limited to rotary wing during the Key West agreement between the Air Force and the Army? We do have I believe we have fighter jets for the Army. We're not the only ones, or Air Force is not the only ones with jets. The Navy
Mhm.
has jets. The Marine Corps has jets. I think every branch of service has their own jets, but primarily focus on helicopters, of course.
Yeah.
Austin says, "How does one get disciplined and or stay disciplined when it comes to joining?" Are we talking about corrective training, corrective action, self-discipline with the mind,
And
the
there's so many
body?
ways.
I know. If you could not justify, clarify in the comment, let me know. You got Ian Klopper with the hello.
Hello. I'm at work. I just want you guys to know, by the way.
No worries. As long as they're quiet behind you.
Oh, don't worry. I closed the office door. We're good.
That is the noise. Can you enlist in the Army National Guard, get a degree, and then once your contract is up as an Air Force, go in as an Air Force officer, or can you only go in Army officer? So, as long as the other branch of service is willing to accept you into their variation of an OCS program, then you're good to go. Just understand that when it comes to the Air Force, if it's not STEM or technical or aviation degree, you're not going to commission in the Air Force, unfortunately. But the Army and other branch of services will probably take you if it's not STEM, electrical, or STEM, technical, or aviation. Also, if you get your degree done before your contract is up, can you officer green to gold before your contract is up? So you can request to go OCS. Green to gold is very
Mhm.
rare. It does happen, but it's extremely difficult. Like you got to be like the la creme of the la creme, like the cream of the crop, and that's very hard to prove. And you're just gonna have to go through OCS, federal OCS, if you're going in the reserve or regular Army. National Guard has the state OCS, traditional one, which is part-time, and then the 9-week accelerator program. I'll drop a video link down here so you can check it out. Assassin asks, would you recommend going to the future program for basic training?
Like the
Want to take
future
that?
soldier prep course? Yeah.
That's what I think that he's referring to.
I would say yes, especially so I've had certain applicants that come in and try to take the ASVAB. And unless you know you're gonna sit down and literally study every single day and put in the work to get there, which a lot of people don't, I would say if you are qualified to go to the future soldier prep course, which is getting a score at 21 to 30, I would say go just because you'll know that you actually have to study with the drill sergeants, as well as you'll be getting paid while going through the course. So the higher percentage of you actually passing when you go through the course is higher than you just going home and trying to study yourself, because you might not even know what to study by yourself. That's my opinion, though.
Yep. And I recommend that if you do qualify for it, absolutely go for it. You're going to hear and see comments either on Reddit. There's a particular ASVAB support page that I'm a part of. And it really grinds my gears sometimes on how entitled some people sound. And I mean this with the
Yes.
utmost respect when I'm about to say this. And I'm going to read it because every time I post it on here, it cuts it up into different things and it's not in the proper order. So understand that the 09 MIC program is for the unqualified. It's an exception to the policy to be able to join and have the Army pay you to learn and improve your ASVAB scores and or your body fat percentage, because there's two versions, right? So go into the program knowing that things are not the same as having more control to what you contract like normal applicant who passes the ASVAB test. So expect to be willing and to settle for an MOS less than exciting for your initial contract. Go into this program with an open mind to help yourself get qualified, often score way higher at the training site at the Future Soldier Prep course versus studying on your own and paying out of pocket for a possible tutor. So you'll more than likely qualify for way more MOSs. To that, you can negotiate at the end of your initial or current contract. So don't go expecting that you're going to get everything on a poo-poo platter through this program. If it works out in your favor and you get what you want, great. And if not, no, now you know what the deal is. So be willing to settle and get your foot in the door, so to speak. Or you can certainly study on your own, get a tutor, and pass the ASVAB test. That's the only way that you'll have more control over your enlistment contracting options as far as MWSs and opportunities. So good luck in MEPS, and may the MEPS gods forever be in your favor. So that's my 2 cents on the program. So if you qualify for it, go for it, because you're in the end going to qualify for way more.
He did say because I'm reading the comments too, he wrote back saying the recruiter recommended me to go into Future Soldier course to help me get ready for basic training after we got my ASVAB score of 67. If you have a score of 67, you won't qualify for the Future Soldier prep course. You'll be able to choose a job. So you can't,
Right.
It used to be where you can try to still go to the course, at least for active and reserves. But now if you score over a 31 or 30 and above, or 31 and above, then you're able to lock in your score. So if you have a 67, I don't know why he's telling you to go to the program, unless National Guard does it like that.
No, I was only tracking that active duty and maybe reserve would offer you, if you scored, even if you scored 31 to a 49, to go through the program to try to increase your scores to become an alpha versus a bravo. But
Yeah,
I
not
guess they
anymore.
took that away from you. Gotcha. Probably because they need those slots
Yeah.
for other people. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come back to the next person. So we got a super chat coming in from Alexis. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. You definitely don't have to do this, but if you're new here and you're wondering why I just skipped everybody, when somebody purchases or supports me through super chat, super thanks, or a super sticker, I will finish my point that I'm delivering, and then I will go and highlight them on the screen like now and address their question or concern if they post it, which this person said, I want to rejoin the California Army National Guard. When I enlisted back in 2017, Genesis did not exist. The problem is I was a baker, acted about 10 years ago. What Army chances now? Not sure what you mean by baker.
Baker.
I'm trying to see if this person posted something right after that. If you could clarify what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but as long as you meet the eligibility requirements, then you're good to go. If you got prematurely discharged for something less than you just completing your initial contract, you're going to need at least an administrative waiver to cover the early termination, and then whatever other waiver required. So if it was, because you're concerned about Genesis, it seems like it's medical. So if that's the case, then you should definitely watch my medical waiver guide that I'm posting here in the chat box. It's also linked down below for you to check out later. But you're going to need an administrative waiver for the premature discharge and a medical waiver for something that you may or may not have disclosed first time around, or whatever the case may be.
You're so quick with the links.
I got to teach you. You have an iPhone?
I do, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to hook you up right after this. No, it's I forgot what they call it. I was actually I'm part of on the same ASVAB support group that I'm on. I'm part of an elite group of recruiters with like-minded individuals. So it's like all branches of services. We're all like happy-go-lucky in there. And I was just showing them last night how I type a few letters and it auto-populates everything.
I like it.
And then I just send it. So I just put MEDV for my medical video, and it just auto-populates whatever just came into the chat. It's pretty dope. They said they were cracking jokes. They're like, "That's why you're the GOAT."
I mean, you are.
Just a guy.
I'm gonna look this up. This person said, "Can you Google?" I'm not gonna do it on my government computer. Google Baker acted.
All right, let me see what ChatGPT comes up with. If I can get my mouse over onto the other screen here. I'm just gonna Google or search Baker acted because I don't know what that means. I'm just warning you that if it's something political, I'm not addressing it.
In California, they consider you 5150.
Baker what?
He said that in California they consider you a 5150. So it's when you are how you say this? When you hold on, let me text it to you.
Oh, is that bad?
No, I just don't know how to say it in I just texted you.
Oh,
Go. I
somebody
meant
put in
go.
there 50/50 is mental health hold. Oh, actually, I think this is the, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So potentially good news. Um, if you were suffering with depression, whatever that looks like, and maybe had some suicidal ideation or maybe even attempt, you're going to max out the minimum waiting period before you can apply to come back into the service. So you're gonna have to wait a minimum of 3 years to include the last time you got off the medication. And the best tips that I have, and I think it was you that I posted the medical link for, right?
Okay.
Hey, I lost my spot here. Why am I get skipped? Oh yeah, so yeah, your prior service. So yeah, so that's probably going to come up. So you definitely need a medical waiver for that. 17, yeah, more than enough time has gone by. So as long as you've been stable off medication and you have not been complaining or expressing signs or symptoms of any type of mental health or anything like that for more than 3 years, then hopefully, more than likely, you should get an approval for a medical waiver. But my
Hmm.
best tips are in that video. So if you had suicide ideation or attempts, let me know in the chat box, and I'll add something else. Like, oh, the thing I wanted to ask you specifically actually is if you were a cutter by any chance, did you cut yourself or hurt yourself when you were going through all that? And then I have something to add to that that's not in that medical waiver video. But thank you for supporting the channel. And Corrupted Redemption, thank you for the explanation as well. All right, so book. Hey, can I join the Army with an eye condition? I was disqualified from the Navy for an eye condition this month. The eye condition was unspecified disorder of refraction and unspecified glaucoma. My recommendation to you is to go to not an optometrist. You want to go through an ophthalmologist and possibly, I'm not sure if there's a specialist that deals with these types of conditions, depending on what your insurance looks like or how much you're willing to pay out of pocket. If you can dig into further testing into those two areas,
Hmm.
like run every possible test and obtain some sort of all clear letter from them stating specifically the proper diagnosis. It's better if it's a specialist that specializes with this, but actually determine what the specificity of your eye condition is and the disorder and all that good stuff, right? To include the
Hmm.
glaucoma. Is it mild? Is it worse or whatever? And what you have to also understand is when you're processing for a medical waiver, it's not how you can perform your duties now or how healthy you are now. MEPS is looking further down the road for VA disability. Are you worth compensating you for the rest of your life if your vision gets worse as a direct result of you serving in the United States military? So that's what they're gauging. It's the long term, the long run, the long game, and see if you're worth the juice for the squeeze. So you have to show them, prove to them that minimally or no change at all with your vision or eye conditions further down the road. If you could prove that, or you can get that from a doctor, which is going to be pretty challenging, you're going to get denied from most branches, if not all of them, without having that. Kimora Bennett says, any insight on 68 Echo for reserve? I looked everywhere and there isn't really any information on them except like 4 to 15 years ago. Honestly, don't know anything about. You're very welcome, Alexis. I'm not very familiar with 68 whiskey. You have to understand there's like 159 different MOSs, and I'm only qualified in three of them. So I'm gonna be doing the same thing as you. Chat GPT, YouTube, Google, looking up videos. So your guess is just as good as mine. I don't know anyone personally that's 68 Echo. The person who you might want to talk about for that, who's medic qualified, is oh, dang, what's his name? You know him. He's a YouTuber.
Battley? Which one?
68 whiskey. What is that specifically?
Well,
I
he's
mean
asking for
68 Echo.
68 Echo, dental specialist.
Yeah. So Aaron Bately. I think I might have him on a quick
Is
text.
it Bailey? I always mess up his. I always call him Aaron. Yeah,
Yeah.
check his YouTube. He is a dental specialist. He does a lot of day in life. He does very good social media. I can see from him, and I had a battle buddy that was a recruiter that was a dental specialist. He loved his job. He was a great recruiter. He was a top recruiter, but he couldn't wait to go back to his job because it's more of just working at a dentist's place. He didn't have, at least for him, he didn't have to go to the field. He didn't have to do the motor pool Mondays, all that stuff. Where Aaron kind of has to do it a little bit, but definitely a lot more lenient when you're a dental specialist, especially if you're fit, because Aaron is fit, so they don't have to worry about him doing PT and all that.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah.
Damn it. I don't have it on my quick text for some reason. Dang it. If you could somehow go on my channel and see who I'm following or recommending on my channel, I know he's definitely one of them. If you direct message me on Instagram, I'll find it. Trying to.
Here, I'll pop it up. I'll put it in there.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm.
You became my assistant.
I know, right? Yeah, I put his
I'm like
YouTube in
Aaron
the
ABT.
link. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, so YF says, sorry, another question. I'm on track to get my associate's degree. Once I'm done with high school, would that bump me to PFC or private E2? So yeah, having 48 or more college credits or a 2-year degree will bring you in with the rank of private first class.
You got your fancy mug, the one that gets warm, huh?
Oh yeah. This is it's from Ember, so it keeps it nice
Ember,
and warm
yeah.
for you. Oh, you recognized it?
Yeah.
I got the mug, the other one too.
Yeah. I got my wife it, that's why.
I wish it kept it warmer a little bit longer though.
Yeah.
But beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Joshua King says, I go to MEPS tomorrow. I'm hoping to get 25 hotel. Wish me luck. Good luck.
Good
May
luck.
the MEPS gods forever be in your favor. 25 hotel. I'm pretty sure that's a good MLS.
Anything 25, I feel like is good in most.
For sure. 25, 35, 17 series.
Mhm.
All phenomenal. YF says, I'm 15 and currently 350 pounds. I was 430 at 14. And I just want to say thank you for helping me find my passion for the military and for the awesome encouragement you guys as recruiters give. Also says, I've got 4 years until I'm going to join two of high school plus a 2-year LDS church mission. And I'm on track to finish losing the weight by winter 2026. My football coaches really helped. That's what I'm talking about. Yo,
Nice.
400 something down to 350? Yo, that's
That's a lot.
amazing. That is freaking amazing. Here, I'm trying to struggle just to lose 10 pounds.
Me too.
I don't know if you're tracking. Oh, yeah, you knew I had the surgery. So, like, I gained some
Hmm.
weight, man. But I lost like 7 pounds before the surgery. But,
And then you gain it back because you had to chill.
and then some, yeah. I was expecting her to be here because she mentioned earlier on the ASVAB page. She says, Kim says, question for my son passed with a 38 leaving in April. He's doing a 3-year enlistment. Does his time also count
And also,
towards his 3 years? So
yeah.
did he join in the active duty regular Army or the Army National Guard?
Mm.
Let me know, Kim. So if he did regular Army, your contract doesn't start until the day you ship out for basic training. But if you went into the guard or reserve, but if it's OSA, then it's guard, unless you're doing MP. But yeah, so the day you sign your contract for the guard, you're in paid status, so your contract starts that day. She also says he could not get an airborne in his contract due to his waiver for blood pressure at MEPS. Will they offer it out of OSADS? Yeah, it's a possibility that they'll offer it to him if he's got a really, really high PT score of like say 340 and above, preferably 350 and above.
Yeah.
They'll usually offer it to people when the slots come up for sure.
Mhm.
And regular Army and reserves get first dibs over the National Guard most of the time.
I did not know that.
Based on user feedback, not officially. I just got a super chat, so I'm gonna come back to you, YF. Uno momento. I got a salute from Canelo. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel.
Love
And I'll
it.
try to pay attention if you post a comment. So I thank you. I'm just scrolling back up, don't mind me.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
When there's like dead space, I like panic.
Try to scroll as fast as you can.
Yeah. YF, I'm trying to get down to 250 before my mission in 2027. That's what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
That's a good number to be at, especially, well, depending on how tall you are. Scylla Strickland, thank you so much for tuning in. One of my long-term subscribers. Remember your why is what Sergeant Swords taught me first. Hell yeah.
Always, always.
And I wasn't paying attention, but Austin clarified self-discipline.
Oh, it was a question of how to get disciplined and how to stay disciplined.
Yeah. So,
I mean, when you go to basic training, it's somewhat easy to get disciplined, but sometimes being self-disciplined afterwards, AIT, and even going to your unit or back home, it is difficult to stay disciplined yourself. Main reason is why you get a lot of people around you that influence you, so you have to choose the good people that you want to hang out with. You want to get better with your career, hang out with someone that wants to progress and do great in their career than someone that just wants to go out and hang out. So it's really who you hang out with at the end after basic training is how you stay disciplined.
yep. In basic training, they're going to force feed discipline, whether
Mhm.
you want it or not. And then as you progress throughout basic training, you get a little bit of more wiggle room and it's more student leadership run. Then when you get to AIT, it's more of an individual responsibility. And that's where you're going to implement, hopefully, a lot of that self-discipline that you were force-fed in basic training, and we'll continue that. So the epitome of self-discipline is David Goggins, in my opinion. So if you don't
Yeah.
know who he is, you might want to go check him out. He curses a lot, just to forewarn you, but he is the
Mhm.
epitome of self-discipline. And it's all about mindset and what's important to you. And if it's important to you, you will continue with that discipline. And if not, there's a quote out there. Sacrificing, I can't remember specifically what it was, but something like sacrifice the comfort now by staying disciplined so you can have an easy life later. I can't remember how it went. I apologize. Maybe some other time. Oh man, I had a long day. I apologize. So we got Brock Purdy with the great says, write the Soldier's Creed 100 times. It's effective, discipline, and basic training. Yeah, that's definitely one way of doing it. The way I did it when I was memorizing the module pitches for the Drill Sergeant Academy was I had the whatever I was memorizing, right? And I would just read the first line 10 times. Then I would
Mhm.
recite it as much as I could remember at least 10 times until that line was memorized. Then I would add the second line and I would repeat that process until the whole thing was memorized. And I would even write it down too.
It was so much fun.
After the fact, it's fun.
Yes, yes, that's very true. After the whole getting all your modules, after that, it's a breeze, to be honest. But the modules is what sucked.
That was the only thing that stressed me the hell out. Everything else was gravy.
Hmm.
Tommy says, any tips on getting on as a recruiter as an E4? Tommy, are you a promotable E4 to E5? And do you have BLC under your belt already? And
Yeah, you can't. At least on us, I didn't know E4s can be. Well, I know for active duty and reserves, you can't be an E4. So.
no, in the Guard, in most states, because like I was E4 promotable when I applied to become a recruiter. So the day they hired me, they're like, "Yeah, you're at a uniform. You're now Sergeant Swartz." And I was like, "Sweet, say
You go.
less."
He said, "No BLC. I am promotable."
All right, so as long as you're promotable, you should be fine. At least for the Guard. Are you looking to go? Are you in the Guard, reserve, or active duty? Let me know. And the tips that you're asking for, are you asking me or asking us like best practices and tips as a recruiter, or tips on how to apply to become a recruiter?
No, he's in the Guard.
Okay, yeah. Are you in New York or some other state? And Brock Purdy calls us Mustangs. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I don't know. I don't know.
More so how to apply,
Missouri.
and should I apply to be more in one station? So you're not applying to, well, I don't know how other states do it, but in our state, we do it by regions or zones. So I'll post a DMN a link. Oops. Oh, a DMNA jobs. That's why. Okay. So I'm posting the New York Army National Guard job list that lists everything from a civilian all the way up to AGR with recruiting as a 79 Tango recruiting retention CO. That's what our state, or that's how our state posts the job listings for the different regions of New York. So I would ask your recruiter, local recruiter, or your unit, how they post their job listings. And look at that job listing for 79 Tango recruiting retention NCO, and it will usually tell you if they are only accepting E5s and above, or specialists promotable, or specialist promotables with BLC qualified. So look at that, and that'll let you know. And yes, you can apply to more than one different region. So, like for example, in our state, Alpha Company is basically from Camp Smith all the way through Long Island, and then Bravo Company is north of that all the way up to the Canadian border, and then we have Charlie Company that goes all the way out west. So you could apply to all three different areas or zones. So really depends on how your state does it. Scylla Strickland says, Team Swartz, Army Strong, because of Sergeant Swartz, I think is what she said. My respect into my eternity. Thank you for all that you do here. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you, Scylla. JC Miller says, I'm interested in the South Carolina Army National Guard. I am married. I know BAH would be during basic and AIT, but for the 2-week annual training every year, would it also apply then? So I can't remember if BAH, the one that we get when you're regular, or not regular, but active duty, is type 1 or 2, but you won't get the big one where you're getting the same level of funding through BAH as if you're active duty. So there's another version. Let's just call it type 2 for when you're on annual training, and it'll be like a couple $100. So it's not going to be a lot. Assassin Enzo 137. The recruiter recommended me to go into the Future Soldier course to help me get ready for basic training after we got my ASVAB score up to 67. Oh yeah, we already spoke about that.
Mm-hmm.
Jose says back at it again. Assassin also mentioned that he he would become an E2 instead of an E1 after graduation.
I feel like the
So when
only
you're
reason, sorry, I feel like the
no,
only
the
reason
only
why
reason
you
for
would
what?
become an E2 if you were to go to the futures prep course is because you were in longer. So at a certain point, you'll become an E2 if you've been in, I think it's 6 months or is it a year? I forgot what it is. Maybe that's
Six
why.
months. Yeah. So your recruiter is possibly setting you up for a disappointment
Yes.
because when you're in the training environment, doesn't matter if it's a future soldier program, whatever, you're in your initial entry training. And usually it's only the top 10% of your class or platoon will be processed for promotions if and when your time in grade and possible time in service comes and passes and you're now eligible for the next rank. They just don't have the manpower to process everybody's promotions and everything. So you're not going to get E2 by the time you complete the 09 Mike program. 6 months
Mhm.
has to go by. And if you're going active duty, you can only be in the 09 Mike program for 90 days. So just do with that information as you will. But plan on getting promoted after you graduate from all of your initial entry training. If you do somehow miraculously get promoted while out training, Merry Christmas. Martin Chan in Hollywood. I did my ASVAB back, got a 93. I have an electrical engineering degree, but I'm 45, waiting for an age waiver. It seems to be hopeless. Any suggestions? Anything over 43 is not a miracle per se, but it's up there close to a miracle. Those are very tough. I know with the regular army, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think your age cap for waivers is around 43 years old.
Yes. For us, yes.
Unless you're a prior service, of course, but I'm assuming that this
Hmm.
person's not. So I will give you a little bit of hope, but it's not a whole lot of hope. All right. The reason why I'm giving you a little bit of hope is just because the waiver department that approves these types of waivers came out to us back in January to give us a class on best practices for waivers and stuff with examples and whatnot. And they admitted to us that the highest waiver that they approved for a non-prior service applicant who's never served before was 47 years old. So the
Oh,
possibility is there, but it's really, really slim.
yep.
It's truly got to be for a meritorious reason. If you just were told by mommy and daddy or your significant other that they didn't want you joining and you just never did, and now you muster up enough courage to do it and make it happen, they're not going to approve that waiver.
Hmm.
So let's say you went to college, you were married at the time, you're no longer with that spouse that told you not to do it. You became a police officer, maybe you're the chief. You made
Right.
a career out of it and you're high ranking and you were just focused on your career. Then maybe they would entertain something like that. That would be considered like a meritorious reason. But under normal circumstances, if you just make up a minor reason to why you wait until you're 45, then I would not expect a favorable consideration, unfortunately. Enrique says, trying to join the National Guard, but went to therapy for minor depression and anxiety, took meds for 2 months, but been off for 7. What are your chances of getting a waiver approved? So the anxiety is what's going to hurt you right now, and the medication. Depression would be a little bit easier to work with, but because you were having or experiencing anxiety and medication, they're going to give you the longer minimum waiting period, which could be up to 3 years, unfortunately. So it really depends on your record, the severity of the diagnosis,
Hmm.
um, your ability to be stable and off medication for at least, I would say at least 6 to 12 months. Because anxiety is in the mix here, it's probably going to be at least a year or two, but don't be surprised if they say that you have to wait a minimum of 3 years before you can reapply. I know, did you get the new MARP?
What is that?
I'll school you later.
Yeah, for
It's
real. Like,
yeah,
what?
yeah. They came out with a new update of minimum waiting periods for stuff like anxiety and depression and stuff like that. It's pretty
Oh, send me
fire.
that.
Yeah, I definitely will. I'll email it to you, if not tonight, tomorrow.
That's fine.
Dino Rui says, I work at MEPS Medical. Y'all have questions. Ooh, Dino. You should direct
Go
message
on a
me.
live.
Let's go live. Like a private live, and I'll blur out your face and distort your voice, and let's get
Oh
the real
yeah.
deal about all these hiccups at MEPS. Yeah, be careful with sharing that information.
hmm
Alexis, can you Google? Oh yeah, we already did that.
We did that.
Let me skip all that stuff. So Fox State Good says, quick question: do you think I can join? If I can join, can I? I think they're saying that they have 2 DUIs back in 2019. I know we can waive 2 DUIs when we follow the same regs.
Yes. Same.
So it also says, I'm sorry, excuse me, sir. You are not just a guy. You are an exceptional, sir. Uh, really, you know how I depended on you when my son went in. I was a mental case, but made it through because of you. Yeah, I gave her a lot of encouragement during that time frame while her son was in training.
Nice.
You're very welcome, Scylla, and thank you. Corrupted says, going to MEPS Hotel tomorrow as prior service. Do ASVAB waivers exist for 18X? Off at one point on general technician. So on your GT, is it above 100 or is it 109? Like, is it a 99 or a 109? They did reduce. I don't know if the pilot program is still going on, but they were doing a pilot program for 100. Are you still tracking that, Bernardo?
Yeah, I am. He said it's a 109.
109?
Yeah.
Too easy. You're
Yeah.
good. Are you going regular Army or National Guard Special Forces? And Alexis asked us another question. Can you ask Bernardo if she successfully enlisted someone with this issue? I believe I remember her saying she's recruited in California.
What were we
I think
talking
that
about?
was the 5150, the mental health hold.
I have. I'm trying to remember, but again, it depends how long it's been. If you were on medication, how severe it was. So every case with that is like case by case. So we would have to talk offline and more in depth with everything.
Absolutely. And where is it? Corrupted Redemption said active duty. So yeah, they'll waive it down to a 100, so you're good. So as long as you meet the rest of the criteria for 18 X-ray, you're good to go. You're golden. Dino Ruiz, would you be interested in talking with me offline about MEPS? Jeff Curry says, oops, what's the best way to build lung capacity to run longer without stopping? Just got to be like Nike, just do it.
Yeah, you just gotta run.
Unfortunately, the only way you can improve on anything is to do it consistently. I wouldn't run every day, but I would run like maybe 3, maximum 4 times a week. When you're first starting out, I'd probably do no more than 3 days. I talk about that in my
Yeah.
basic training prep video. And if you're, oh shoot, what did I hit? In this video, the basic training preparation video, there's a downloadable program where if you're really starting from a couch and starting to work out, he's got a staff now starting first class tech Sarah or something like that on Instagram. Anyways, link down below in the description, and it includes walking, rucking, and running for 60 days. So I would definitely go check that out. And I lost my spot here. There we go. So 30-60s is sprinting out for 30 seconds for 80 to 100% max effort. and then walking for 30 seconds, and you repeat that for about 2 miles, that's gonna decrease your overall run time and probably
Mhm.
this it's basically high intensity interval training, and that will expand your lungs and all that stuff. And then another day you run for distance, like a fun run, nice slow jog, airborne shuffle, as we call it. And then another day it's just you versus you, and you're testing yourself for 2 miles, running your shortest time possible, trying to beat your last run time. And just mix it up like that, and that'll definitely help you. Joshua King says, I go to MEPS tomorrow. Any advice on how to negotiate in my contract if there's stuff on there I don't necessarily want? Like, what is it that you want in your contract? And I'll let you know if it's going to be a possibility or not. But
Mhm.
if you're otherwise eligible for it, and if you're going active duty and it ties into everything else that's in the system, you're going to get it.
Yeah. Even talk to your recruiter. Let's say you are qualified for it, and all of a sudden, if they go into your profile, they're able to pull up the job options too. So if you are qualified for it and there are seats open, sometimes there aren't seats, but if there is a seat open, then they can lock in the job and your contract. So instead of going down and not seeing it right away, it'll already be locked in. So see if that's an option as well.
Absolutely. Solid advice. In worst case scenario, if you're at MEPS and it's something that you are otherwise eligible for, but it's not available at that time, your recruiter's not going to like to hear this, but come back another day. It may become available.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like if you go to MEPS and that job isn't available that day and there's no training seats or whatever, go another day, like a week or two, a month later, depending on what your financial stability is like at that time. If you could wait it out, great. Because when you go back to MEPS, it may become available. Let's say with a
Yeah.
training date issue. People get injured, people get in trouble, they lose their ship date, and then that becomes available to somebody like you who's looking to fill in that slot. So you never know. So communicate with your recruiter, like Bernardo was saying, and see what your options are.
Yeah. Tell them what you really want. Tell them that you'll sign if you get that job. And then as well as damn, I just lost my train of thought.
I hate when it happens. It happens to me all the
I
time,
know.
man.
Oh, but
Some people
like
say it's a blonde moment, but I call it a bald moment.
stupid. Um, but there are certain jobs that you cannot, like, it's very, 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 very difficult to get. So if you're asking for 31 kilo, which is a dog handler, or I forgot which one's the other one, it's a firefighter. Those are very,
12
very
Mike.
rare to get. You might have to wait years sometimes. But like even for a dog handler, I have not seen anyone, and people over here hasn't seen anyone get that job just because it's not open.
Most active duty recruiters I talk to say that maybe once a year they might see it become available. It's
Really?
usually a lateral transfer for active
Hmm.
duty. It's not usually an entry level position. It
Yeah.
does open up as an entry level position from time to time, but it's super rare. And obviously, that's like
Mhm.
something that people really, really want, and they probably thoroughly, thoroughly enjoy it. So they don't have a huge need for it because it's usually full because people love it.
Yep.
So um, for most people, you're gonna have to start out at 30, as a 31 Bravo military policeman, and then laterally transfer over to K9 at some point throughout your contract or career. Assassin says, I got to wait until the 7th to know when I go to MEPS.
Why?
Maybe I'm assuming that they're waiting for their maybe a complex pre-screen to get approved.
Oh, maybe. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Dino says, love being a 68 whiskey. Hell yeah. Kimura Bennett says, thank you guys. I know him as well. I watch all his videos. There we go. And
I like it.
trust me, he's very humble. He'll talk to you. His head's not gassed up. He's very approachable. Hit him up.
Hmm.
He'll definitely talk to you for sure. Christopher Galovich said, I'm going on a year of being off all medications now. 189 pounds, 22-year-old, and I am a male. How long do I have left before I can join? I don't know what the medicine was for, honestly.
Yeah.
But we can say anywhere from 6 to 36 months. So 6 months to 3 years, depending.
Mhm.
on what the medical condition is or was. Scylla says, I don't even understand what it's like to have to lose weight, but my hat's off to you. It's for the other guy.
Oh, my wife's in the chat.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What's up, Pookie? How you doing?
She said, let's be real. Why did you stay in the army so long, and what makes you want to keep serving? That's a good question.
Is that for me?
Yeah.
That's a really good question. So I joined because I wanted to help people. I knew when I was a young age that I wanted to join the military. The typical Rambo commando movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. But no offense, but active duty recruiters kind of like put a bad taste in my mouth when I was going through the process of joining between 2000 and 2001. But I eventually ran into a National Guard recruiter, which was pretty dope because it's a good stepping stone to eventually go full time without that full time commitment, especially for someone like me who is an introvert and scared to commit to full time. It was just a happy medium. But what resonated with me and why I chose the National Guard was because of our state missions and helping out our communities in natural disasters, state emergencies and such. So many people don't know this about me, but I used to be a volunteer firefighter for my local town. And so that's why I chose the National Guard because of that community and state aspect, the state mission. Now, everyone joins for one reason and everyone stays for a different reason. I stayed because I found out that I really, really love being in a uniform. I really like being on active duty status, whether it's in the National Guard or whatever. And I don't know, it's just when I went back to my civilian position after being on Homeland Security for 2.5 years with the Guard here in New York, I just I don't know, it's just no offense to civilians out there. It's just sometimes you guys make it unbearable to work with. And I just like the community with like-minded individuals within the military, the level of discipline, professionalism most of the time. And I don't know, I just enjoy being in the military. And people don't stay for 24 years by accident. You choose to be here because you enjoy it. Now, I did go
Mhm.
through a small season where, it wasn't so great, but at the end of the day, when I speak to people about joining and they're like, well, do you like it? And I'll keep it 100 with you. There are going to be days that you love it. Some days you just wish you would punch in the throat. But at the end of the day, overall, being in the military has been the best decision that I've ever made in my entire life. I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I owe it to a friend of mine. I guess we could call him my mentor when I was a teenager. He used to serve in the Marine Corps. He tried so hard to get me to Marines, but the recruiters ruined it for me. But he was a huge influence on me to join the service. But yeah, so what you put into this opportunity, whether it's joining the military, going to school, you work for going into the workforce, what you put into it is what you get out of it. So if you really, really want to have a good experience and you really want to enjoy what you're doing, do it for the right reasons, find something that you're passionate about and go for it. If you join and you don't like it, don't just stay for the benefits. Don't stay for the money. Money's not that important. Like it's right up there next to oxygen, but you don't need it. Well, I mean, you do need oxygen to survive, but you don't need money to survive. Hang on, I messed up that quote. Oh man, it's been a while since I had to say that. But yeah, anyway, I hope you get the moral of the story. But yeah, so I really, really enjoy it. And obviously you've been in for a while, so let us know in the chat box why you decided to stay for as long as you have so far, which is probably around 10 to 13 years by now, right?
I'm actually hitting 12 years this year.
There you go. How's close?
Yeah. But I mean, you said it. People join for a different reason. I wasn't planning on staying forever, but once I joined, I didn't think of any like doing anything else. And I actually really love it, which is why I became a recruiter. Swartz was like, "Do you really want to do it? Do you really want to be a recruiter?" Which I understand now. But the opportunities that the Army has done for me has been amazing, and to see how different my lifestyle is and my life and everything is compared to people I grew up with. I honestly didn't think I was going to be the more successful one, just because I didn't feel like I was as smart as all my other friends were. I didn't know what career path I wanted to do, even though all my friends knew what they wanted to do. But coming back to California, meeting up with them, seeing how their life is, they're still trying to figure it out while I'm already progressing with my career, have a few houses, vehicles, all these things. So the Army has set me up for success in the long run, and I just love it. Even if some days, like he said, it might not be the greatest, you might not want to come into work for that day, but for the most part, it's been amazing, and the people that I work with is great too, so that helps.
Yeah, people definitely make or break it for sure.
Absolutely.
There was something you said that I was going to add to it, but I forgot what it was now.
It's a long day.
Yeah. So brown sausage. I just want to address something real quick. Somebody, oh, I missed it now. It's long gone. Somebody said that they missed the lactose tolerant question. As far as I know, we haven't gotten to a comment talking about lactose intolerance. So if you want to repost your question, let us know in the chat box.
Yeah, I didn't see
So brown
that.
sausage, interesting name, says, what should I do if I am? Okay. I had to read that one first before I kept reading just in case it was something crazy. So, what should I do if I'm in a racist reserve unit that is targeting me? They gave me 4 counselings during annual training and something about separation papers. I got a lawyer, etc. I am now trying to go OCS and they're not helping. That's an unfortunate position to be in. But it sounds like whatever advice that I was about to share with you, it seems like you're already doing it. Is you're getting legal counsel. Follow their advice to the T, because obviously they're going to know what's best. But one thing, so that you're aware, when it comes to military lawyers or just military law in general, on the civilian sector, when you hire a lawyer, they're there for you, if that makes sense, right? So in the civilian side, you're innocent until proven guilty. In the military side, you're guilty until proven innocent. And unlike a civilian lawyer, where they're protecting you and looking out for your best interest without breaking any laws, just making sure that your rights are not being violated, in the military, when dealing with military lawyers, they don't act in the same manner. They're there to adhere to the Army regulations and military law, whether that's in your favor or not. So don't get buddy-buddy with your lawyer. And of course, I'm not a lawyer, so just take that with my 2 cents. But don't share something with them that could incriminate you or what have you, because their job is to get to the truth and to hold anyone and everything accountable that is in accordance with the military law and regulations and policies. So they're not there to protect you, all right? Even with a legal defender, just understand they're not the same as a civilian lawyer, all right? So does that make sense? All right. I know it makes sense to you, but so I don't know if I explained that correctly, but just that was something that was expressed to me. But yeah, so just keep that in mind when talking to your attorney. So I would also maybe seek advice through the inspecting general on your current situation. And if it's based on a he said, she said scenario without documentation, proof, evidence, and witnesses with signed sworn statements, it's going to be a he said, she said, and it's just going to be a cluster F, if you know what I mean. So follow your legal counsel and I'm just a nobody here, but they're the subject matter experts. So if you got a lawyer, talk to them and see what they have to say. And unfortunately, it sounds like they're retaliating if they're not helping you with OCS. And unless you were receiving NJP, non-judicial punishment, or something higher, they can't stop you from going OCS. as long as you're otherwise qualified for it. But this one's for you, Sergeant Bernardo. Austin says, what is your recommendation for someone who is going guard but is thinking of changing to active duty after basic and AIT? I want to do guard now and get into the flow of things, but always wanted to be active duty.
I think the main thing with that is just know that when you go through basic training areas and then you go back to your unit, it's not like an automatic thing where you go to a recruiter, get a release form and everything, and your command team's going to be like, okay, fine, you want to go active, sign it off. Usually what happens is that they want you at least for a year, from what I always hear, and then they might release you. Just know, at least from what I heard, that you might not get released sometimes, but you know, in most cases you can. They just want some of the time back. But yeah, being able to at least dip your toe into the Army and see how it is. Just know National Guard, even reserves, is way different when it comes to active duty and our lifestyle. So it's good to get the lifestyle during basic training AIT. I haven't really seen reserves and Guard of how they do their drill training, but even so, I know it is way different when you go active duty. So just keep an open mind with everything and see what you really want to do. Just know that you might have to wait a little bit longer to go active.
I just posted in the chat box the video called Guard and Reserve to Active Duty,
Okay.
like the process and tips and best practices and whatnot. Now, obviously, it's been a few years since I posted that video. Not sure if regulations have changed, but at the time of that recording, the only requirement by regulation that you have to meet in order to request your conditional release to go active duty is to be MOS or job qualified. And then it's up to your state's tag, your adjutant general, which is usually a 2-star general, who ultimately will decide on whether or not to approve your conditional release. In the video, I talk about best practices and my suggestions to how to articulate your reasons to why you want to go active duty. So steer clear of the, oh, I just want to go active duty because it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
But I'd rather you to make sure that it's more of a hardship. Hey, I'm struggling financially. I don't have a job or whatever the case may be. And there's more of a need for you to go active duty rather than a simple want. And then a particular time of year, like right now is probably not like the best time to request a conditional release. The best time is like October through like January-ish. So like the second half of the year, which we're about to go into, it's gonna be harder to get that approval because at the end of the year, each branch of the military and component of the Army is looking to hit their end strength goal, meaning their quota, by the end of the fiscal year, which is the end of September. So the later in the fiscal year that you're asking to get released, the state is playing the game of who can I release, who can I hold until we hit a certain number to play a numbers game, basically, to finish the year and be successful in the eyes of the Department of Defense and Congress at the end of the fiscal year. Also, it's not guaranteed that you'll get conditionally released, but in most cases you will. And if you're in a successful state like New York, getting released is going to be easy because we're the #1 state in the country, like 4 or 5 years in a row now. I lost track, but if you're in a state that's consistently struggling and not hitting their numbers, it's going to be more challenging to get released. But it all boils down to how you articulate your why to why you want to go active duty. And if you want to check out any type of full-time National Guard opportunities, I'm posting another video on there that you could explore and check out and still get the same lifestyle, but be more local instead of going anywhere in the world in regular Army. That's another option for you too, especially if your conditional release temporarily gets denied. So in the new fiscal year, if it gets denied this one, then you can always apply in the next fiscal year. And good luck to you. So Brown Sausage, any advice for information on the Chaplain candidate program? From my understanding, if you want to become a chaplain, you have to have a 4-year degree in divinity of some sort, a devout follower, and your religious figure basically has to highly recommend you and more or less, quote unquote, sponsor you. But I would talk to a specialty recruiter, like a chaplain recruiter, but that's more of a direct commission type of a deal, and see what their requirements are. But off the top of my head, that's what I can remember from a briefing that we got like a couple weeks ago. How about the regular Army? Do you have anything to add for that? Because this person didn't say if
No,
they were going active or guard.
I honestly don't know much about the chaplain kind of program. Like I can try to say something, but no, I don't know much about it, to be honest.
No worries. I don't know much about it. I just know that you have to have a degree in divinity, a devout follower. You have to be sponsored or recommended or endorsed by your religious figure.
Hmm.
And there's some other requirement that you need too. I can't quite remember, but something to do with that. Silver Bullet says, I'm going to enlist in a year. What is the best thing I could do to prepare for MEPS and basic training? A solid briefing from your recruiter before going to MEPS will
Yeah,
save a lot of hassles at MEPS. And being
absolutely. That
proactive
is a
rather than
lifesaver.
reactive. Hell
Hmm.
yeah. And to prepare for basic training, I would say focus on running over everything else. But I just posted a video that talks about all that. But let's ask the real deal here. Sergeant Bernardo, what would you recommend to prepare for basic training?
For basic training, I would just say your mindset. Main thing is your mindset. Everyone goes in there. Sometimes you can be the best athlete, you run all this stuff, um, but it comes down to being mentally prepared, knowing that you're going in there and it's not just gonna be fun and games, it's not gonna be just like a camp. It's going to be hard because it is a different lifestyle. So just at least mentally preparing yourself to know that it's going to suck. It will. Days are going to be hard, early mornings, late nights. Sometimes you might not even be able to sleep or get a good night's rest. But being mentally prepared for that will help you out in the long run because you can be a great and strong soldier, but if you are weak-minded and want to go home or listen to that voice saying just quit or go to sick call, even though you don't need to go to sick call, those will be the things that make you fail.
Solid. I love it. Dino Ruiz, the guy that works at MEPS, has a 68 whiskey. He said he wants to become a recruiter too.
Gotta hit him up.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna be posting recruiter related content as well. I think the first video I'm gonna do about recruiting is, do I recommend you to become a recruiter or not? And just like I did with Sergeant Bernardo here. Oh, don't
Yeah.
do it. Don't do it. Not because it's not that I don't want you to become a recruiter or that you would fail to be a recruiter. It's just it takes a unique individual to endure the stressors that we go through as recruiters.
Yes.
And it's a challenge both mentally and physically. Like
Hmm.
in other jobs in the Army, like if you just do the minimum or maybe subpar and don't do the minimum, it's easy to hide the fact that you're not doing much.
Hmm.
But recruiting is like sales and it's results driven. And if you F off,
Yeah.
it will reflect in your numbers. So you can't hide the fact that you're not pulling your weight or doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Um, so it definitely takes somebody who's self-disciplined, has the self-drive and motivation, and you're wearing many, many hats as a recruiter. I'm not sure about regular Army, but as a National Guard recruiter, like I don't have somebody micromanaging me, tell me where to go, what to do, how to do it. It's you get the training, here's your car keys, here's your laptop, here's your cell phone. What do you got for me this month? And it's up to
Mhm.
me to fulfill my mission for the month and quarter and for the year. And as long as I'm making my numbers, people don't ask me if I'm at work, what I'm doing, yada, yada, yada. I'm in charge of my own schedule. So time management is critical in this job. Follow-up is key, and taking care of your soldiers because that's where you get your referrals.
I wish it was like that for here.
I tried to get you to
No,
come over to the guard side, but you're like, I need to recruit with Abby.
man, I should have. Yeah, it's just here it's different. Even if you're hitting your quota and everything, they do give you more lenient time and all that stuff, but it's still make sure you show up at work.
I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she's killing it in the regular army. She's in, I think she's in North Carolina, Staff Sergeant Ortiz. I think she's at like something like 50, like over 40 for sure, but creeping on, if not already exceeded 50 enlistments this fiscal year.
Really? No,
Yep.
I have not heard of
So,
her.
yeah, I don't know what she's doing, but she's killing it on the AdLab support page. I might have to turn you on to
Yeah,
it.
send it over.
Hell yeah. I'll send you the link. For some reason, this whole time I thought you were at least in it. I mean, I never see you comment, but I figured you were in it.
Send it. Yeah, send it over. I'll join it.
All right, sounds good. I'll send it to you tonight. This person, YC210, says, "Did you see my question, sir? Unfortunately, this is my first time
Mm-mm.
seeing you, so I didn't see it. So you could try to resubmit your question, but if it's not showing up on my end, it's because you're using a keyword or phrase that I had blocked for whatever reason. So if anything, if anyone here, if they want to direct message me on Instagram, you can send it to my Instagram here or my email. Prefer Instagram though. Haley, this is the first time I'm seeing your comment, and you're saying, "Did you even see mine?" So I'm assuming that you posted something, and I'm just not seeing it for whatever reason.
Yeah, I didn't see anything either.
Dino Rui says he's in the Florida National Guard. They do it by regions, and you have to be on the list of the top 50 applied based on points. Oh, points? Like, what do you mean? Like, how did you perform on a board points or like by MOS? I don't. That's new to me.
Mm,
Assassin said, "Give them a sec. They do." Oh, okay. Someone's telling schooling them. That's right. That's what I'm talking about.
I like it.
My mini helpers. Bailey says, "Yeah, I texted twice and neither were addressed. I was thinking something was wrong with my phone." No, I think you just are using something that might be blocked for whatever reason, so I apologize. But you can always direct message me or email me. And this is my first time seeing 410 Moni as well.
Yeah, I've been looking, but I haven't seen the
That's
questions
wild.
before that.
That seems to be a trend tonight. That's not good. Tiny Woods Forest says, "Talking about loyalty, I had the biggest mistake in my military career to defend my loyalty to Alpha Company and refused to recycle in 2021. Got chaptered out in 2022 with uncharacterized discharge." Okay.
Need more to the story of that? Okay.
Yeah. Maybe there's a question later on.
Yeah.
Haley says, "Money." Oh, talking to each other. I don't get the reference on that one.
I don't know.
Zanny says, "I have a couple of questions. I live in New York and I've been thinking about joining the National Guard. Call this guy. I
Mm-hmm.
remember in one of your videos, you said if you join, I could stay in New York. I'm about an hour and a half from New York City. I got you. Say less, fam. Hit me up."
Shoot him a DM. He
Yeah, for
got you.
sure.
Best recruiter out there.
Hour and a half. That means you're just south of where I grew up. So that means you're probably around exit 18 off the New York State Thruway on either side of the river, if I had to guess. Hit me up. Here's my email address if you want to do that as well. This person, I guess, when they were in training, were called Pops or Grandpa. Liz here sending you a whole bunch of hearts.
That's my wife.
Oh, there we go. Hell yeah. Now I gotta remember that for next time. Martin says, "Since I had a bachelor's degree, but I'm older, do you think applying to officer might be higher chance to get an age waiver?" Are you guys entertaining age waivers for OCS?
Nope. Not for us.
Yeah. So if you're
Unfortunately.
going part-time in the National Guard, you need to appoint as an officer by age 40, 41, I believe it is. So you have up to about 41 years old. So I don't know how old you are because you didn't say, but check out this OCS video. But your response was exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
especially when it
more
goes to
competitive on
OCS
you
and
guys' end
everything.
too.
Say again?
It's more competitive on your end too.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to go OCS, you there's usually no exceptions for anything. You have to be a perfect candidate, even to be looked at and get an interview.
GPA, I realize that your GPA has to be a little bit higher too for you guys.
It needs to be over a 3.8 at least to be looked at for active. Reserves, maybe I had someone that joined with a 3.6 and but she had a very great interview and had very good recommendation letters too.
Gotcha. Well, National Guard would take it at a 2.5 and better,
No way,
or
for real?
2.0 and better. Yeah, man.
I did not know that. Well, now I know.
Shoot, we don't even have a board for our OCS candidates. Their packets go before a board, but you physically, you have a 30-minute conversation with the officer strength manager, and as long as you're articulate and you say all the right things to why you want to be an officer and not about money and all the answers that you shouldn't give for an OCS interview, like do some homework, do some research, know what OCS is and what it means to be an officer and all that stuff, and give the right responses. And within 30 minutes, you're approved. You do the packet, you join. And eventually, your packet goes before the board and they approve everybody. As long as the OSM blesses off on you, you're good to go for National Guard.
Oh, wow. Now I
So as
know.
long as you got a 2.0 and you have a degree, doesn't matter what degree it's in, it could be in basket weaving for all we care. You are in there like swimwear. Hashtag I'm just saying. Go guard, baby.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty good.
All right, you about to leave?
Yeah, I gotta head off home because it takes about an hour and 15.
Oh, pull up your diaper. I thought you were a drill.
That was my
Nah, I
old
got you.
life.
All about the new life, right?
It is. Plus, I have my dog
Outstanding.
here.
No worries. Well, I appreciate you coming on here, helping out with everybody and all that good stuff. Uh, let us know in the chat box if you want me to bring her back at a later time, which I'm pretty sure that's north and south. All
Yeah.
right.
And then if
But
anyone has any questions about like active duty or even reserves, um, nothing crazy. I'm gonna put out my government number here. You guys can text me if you have questions, um, or hit me up on social media, just so it's helpful. But if you go crazy or say some wild stuff, I will block you instantly. Just know that.
yeah. And I'll block you on here too. I'll find you. It's like that movie Taken. I don't know who you
Okay.
are, but I have a
But
special set of skills.
definitely gonna come back on this live whenever Science Swords tells me to. So, you know, I'll just do it while I'm at work usually.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're
Of
live streaming with
course.
your Osmo, it looks like.
Yeah, you can tell because it's moving.
Yeah, I can. Yep.
Hmm.
That's when yeah, I just realized it. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I was gonna bring my whole camera and all that stuff. I'm like, you know what? Let me just use the Osmo today and see how it works.
It works flawlessly. I love it.
Mm, thanks. All right, brother.
You're welcome.
I'll give you a text in a little bit, okay?
All right, sounds good. Take care. Have a good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, so we are solo dolo. Going in with the Lord of the Woods says, I'm lactose intolerant. Would I be able to eat the food or the MRAs, or does that disqualify me from service? So, Lord of the Woods, are you medically diagnosed with being lactose intolerant, or are you self-diagnosing because when you have dairy, it just happens that you have a reaction to the dairy products? Let me know in the chat box. I'm gonna try to pay attention to the bottom here. All right. But if you're not diagnosed from a doctor, then unless you have a medical degree and you practice medicine, don't self-diagnose because you're just going to disqualify yourself. Second thing is, if a waiver is approved for it, just avoid all dairy and you should be fine. So like no cheeses, no milks, yogurts, anything that has dairy in it, and you'll be fine. All right. So you'll have like usually options of 2 different meats, 2 different carbs, and your vegetables. So if you don't want to drink milk, then don't drink milk. You know what I mean? So to me, I don't think that's going to stop you from getting in. I've never had anyone not join because of lactose intolerance. Wolfman says, question, would I be able to pursue a career in aviation in the Army, active National Guard, or Reserve at my current age at 36 years old? Would I need an age waiver and would I be denied for that line of work? So that would be as a flight warrant officer in your non-prior service, which I'm assuming that would be the street to sea option. And I'm going to say that that ship has passed and sailed because if I'm not mistaken, you have to commission as a flight warrant by 34 years old, if I'm not mistaken. But if you hit me up on my Instagram at Team Swartz, right here, coming in the chat box, just put in there flight warrant age cutoff, and I'll look it up and I'll let you know. This person says, your recruiter will tell you to lie about the anxiety. All right, so brown sausage, it sounds like you've been out for a while or not privy to the updates. So unfortunately and fortunately, you're not able to hide your medical past like a lot of people did in the past. So I want to say in somewhere between 2020 and 2021-ish, this new program came out called MHS Genesis, if you care to watch it. We got this video and this one that will talk you all the way through it. But basically, Genesis is a DoD contracted program that has the ability to go into your electronic medical records. And there's no limit to how far back they go. They go back as far back as your records go. So from the date you were born till now, if it's in there like swimwear, we will see it. So there's no point in lying about anything because they will find it. And if you are found to have lied, that is considered a fraudulent enlistment and you will be discharged. Centric says, hey, what's up? Brown sausage, do me a favor. If you're not nice to my viewers, I will block you. And you're actually posting some pretty questionable comments tonight. So you're already right at the cuff of being put on timeout. Centric, can I join with a fraudulent enlistment? Most fraudulent enlistments are probably going to have you wait a minimum of 24 months from the date of discharge before you can reapply. So whatever caused the fraudulent enlistment, if that is something that could be waived, then you'll need an administrative waiver for your discharge and whatever type of whatever type of waiver to address what caused the fraudulent enlistment. If it was something medical related, then you would need a medical waiver. If it was something that was you lied about your moral history, then you would need a moral waiver on top of that. And I don't see how that's funny, brown sausage. You went from here, and you're slowly going down here to here to here before I kick you out. Tiny West, I took the ASVAB 5 times, waited over a year and 3 months to join the Army. But did you join? You made it? You actually signed your contract? Let me know in the chat box. Austin Winters says, so I know I need a waiver for my line scores for 17 Charlie. Is it possible to get me? No, unfortunately, 17 Charlie is one of those MOSs that do not authorize line score waivers. The only exception to this rule, possibly, and it's up to the schoolhouse, is if you have a degree in cybersecurity and or some sort of licenses, certificates, and legit work experience in the field, then the schoolhouse may entertain line score waivers for it. But other than that, you're going to have to meet the line scores required for that MOS, unfortunately. Frank Brito says, my brother always getting knowledge from you. My medical waiver got approved yesterday. I'm going to enlist. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Get her done. Hell yeah. Centric says, how do I negotiate 09 mic program contract? There's not much of a negotiation process. It's literally once you are, you get the score required to pass the 09 mic program, they're going to give you a list of available MOSs that, one, you're qualified for, vacancies exist, and a training seat is available. If those three things align for the MOS that you want, then you get what you want. If what you want isn't on that list, you're a no-go at this station, and you have the choice to settle for another MOS that they're offering you, or you request to be discharged, sadly. Stay tuned for a future video on that, because, yeah, look forward to that. Well, kind of look forward. Yeah, well, look forward to it because it's my video, but you might not like what I have to share in that video around that particular topic. But yeah, hopefully you get it. JC Miller says, would National Guard do anything for my wife's student loans? No, unless she wants to join. If she wants to join the National Guard for a 6 to an 8 year contract, we will pay off $45,000 to $50,000 in student loans. Can I re-enlist with PTSD waiver? Possibly. It really depends on your records. Corrupted redemption. Also, when it comes to drug test, any advice for those who are shy when people watch? Just pretend they're not even there. Just relax and let it flow. But going back to this PTSD question, follow my mental health advice in this video and follow the tips to the T. Listen, let's be real. Okay, yeah. Yami Grizzly says, can you get banned from a branch for not going to MEPS or backing out? It sounds like a comment I got on my instant messenger. Do some branches, or maybe within Scram, do some branches have permanent ban lists that they can put you on if they don't like you, even if you qualify for the ASVAB and physical? All right, so let me tell you something. This comment right here, what this person is sharing, is coming from a toxic recruiter. There's no such list that exists that a recruiter is going to put you on to ban you or prevent you from joining another branch of service. They're just really upset with you, and they're being unprofessional by lying to you about this so-called banning option. It just doesn't exist. It's either you're qualified or you don't. The only way you can get banned from processing at MEPS is if you do something wild and crazy that you're not supposed to do at MEPS, and they put you in what we call an N status. So let's say they found you on your cell phone and you were told not to be on your phone, and then you violated again. The MEPS commander can put you in an N status for 30 to 180 days, and then you can come back and continue your process. Aside from that, your recruiter doing something does not exist. So as long as you got some valid ASVAB scores and a medical, or even if you have not done that yet and you want to switch recruiters and this is what your recruiter is telling you, I would tell your recruiter to go where the sun doesn't shine and go find yourself a more professional recruiter, and maybe even report that recruiter, honestly, because that's just wild to me. Stuff like that grinds my gears. Corrupted Redemption says, another question, is there any truth to prior service not being offered sign-on bonuses? I'm not sure about active duty, but depending on the component of the Army you're trying to go into, at least for the National Guard, we have different types of bonuses for different people, and one of them has to be prior service. There's an affiliation bonus if you're MLS qualified, so on and so forth. So it really depends on if you meet the criteria for the bonus. Maybe they're just not offering a bonus at this time, and ERICKA Bernie or Sergeant Bernardo is not here to respond to the active duty side with prior service bonuses, but I'll put her Instagram handle down here. This is, I think, her personal one, but she still vlogs on there. It's coming into the chat box right now, but she can answer your question about that. But that's her handle or screen name on Instagram. All right, I just And brown sausage was just I don't know, didn't sit well with me, so I banned him. Sorry, I just lost my spot here. I don't know how, but I lost my spot. Oh, here we are. Linda says, I am already going in with not a lot of belongings. May I bring my laptop and a few civilian clothes? I am leaving a TV shelter. I'm sorry to hear that, but at least you got away, which is great. Proud of you for that. It takes a lot of courage. So that way I am leaving to go to basic training with less already. All right, so if you don't have anyone that you trust to hold onto your laptop, then I say bring it with you. But what I would do is, and get, if you can afford it, that is, get a thick protective sleeve for your laptop. I talk about what to pack and whatnot in this video, and you can bring some clothes with you to basic training. Just understand. I talk about it in that video, so if you want to go check it out, you can. Less is more, and the more you bring, the more of a struggle it is to carry the 2 duffel bags and your rucksack and your personal bag to your basic training site from the reception battalion after you get everything issued to you. But I address that there. But get something to protect your bag, because your personal bag is going to get stored into a closet, and all the other bags are going to be on top of it. And my fear is your laptop is going to get cracked or broken because everything is on it. So that's why I'm telling you to get a protective sleeve. Preferably kind of like maybe even have like a hard case in it, maybe. Get like a protective shell for your laptop and a thick cushion, or as thick as you could, of a laptop sleeve to put your laptop in while it's in your backpack. That would be my recommendation. Nathan says, I just enlisted with the National Guard, and my leave date is August 20th, and all the information that you posted helped me make the decision, so thank you. I appreciate that positive feedback. Thank you so much, and good luck to you. The big one on 2 says, I'm currently active duty stationed at Fort Riley. I'm an 88 Mike motor transport, aka truck driver, and I really wanted to reclassify to 42 Alpha, which is human resources. Any advice on that MOS? Not really advice, but it's just admin heavy. At the end of your current contract, negotiate switching your MOS to it. But one thing I would recommend is go onto Google and look up free typing games, because at minimum you need to be able to type 50 words per minute. So if you can type 50 words per minute, you can, but I don't want you typing like this, one at a time like this. I want you using all your fingers. So that's the purpose of the typing game, to get used to typing properly. When I went through high school, we had a typing game, or typing games, called Mavis Beacon Typing Game. I may be showing my age a little bit. Hashtag I'm just saying, but yeah, so that's what I would recommend. That would be my only advice for you if you're going to go that MOS. Enyo says, I'm about to start studying the ASVAB. How do I start? I kind of feel lost in how to study. Man, I got something for you. So we got that and this. So the second thing I just posted into the chat box is my latest ASVAB Ultimate Study Guide. Start with that, watching that video. But in the video, I talk about this app and website that you can study from called Memetrics. It's only $40 per month. If you use the coupon code SWARTZ20, you get 20% off. And if you give me a moment to look up my email, there will be a a higher discount code of like 30 or 40% off for their spring special, which I'll be promoting. Doesn't have a start date. Okay, so March 5th through the 11th, there will be a coupon code and you'll save 40%. No, I'm sorry, 30% off, 35% off. Yeah, you'll get 35% off. So if you wait until March 5th, you'll get 35% off instead of the 20% using Swartz 20. So wait until March 5th. But with that being said, with that program, whether it's Mometrics or some other app or website out there that are like around 40, 60 bucks, those are really, really good because it's not very high in cost, and most people only need 2 to 4 weeks of consistent studying every day for however long you need to for the first 2 to 4 weeks. You don't need anything more than that. And what I like about it is because it's structured. You go through the thing, you see where your track record is. They have multiple practice tests and whatnot. But you can use Grammar Hero. And in the description of the video I just posted about the study guide, I have a full version of the ASVAB for Dummies book linked down below that you could download and use that instead of going out and buying a book or going to the library and getting it for free there or whatnot. But watch the video, it will make more sense, and good luck to you. And let me know what you scored on your practice test. You're welcome, Piney Woods. What is the highest waiver to get approved? I'm not sure I understand your question, but if you mean what is the highest waiver authority, and that's called the DMPM. That is the highest level of the waiver authority that would review and decide upon your waiver, if that's what you mean. But we have different types of waivers. We have medical waivers, administrative waivers, moral waivers, exceptions to policy for religious accommodations, medical accommodations for certain things, age exception to policies. We have tattoos, things of that nature. Forever says, I'm shipping out March 10th to Fort Moore, OSA as a 19 uniform. Any tips on what to do after training? You know, somebody asked me a similar question, and the reason I haven't responded to them yet, or I think I did actually, but I'm going to be doing a dedicated video on this. I want to put some serious thought in it and maybe even interview like unit administrators and unit readiness NCOs and first sergeants and stuff to see what they have to say about their ideal soldier coming to their unit and all that good stuff. But any tips would be, at least for your initial meeting with your assigned unit, wear your best uniform, your cleanest boots. At minimum, iron your uniform. Clean shaven if you're a male. Hair looking good, whether you're a male or female. Look presentable and professional. Just like basic training. Mind your P's and Q's. Maintain your military bearing. Be respectful. Military customs and courtesies, obviously. And just understand that first impressions are lasting impressions. So you want to put your best foot forward, show them who you are, and you'll be all right. Yeah, I'm not sure about points of a packet, what that means. Dino, I'm sorry. Maybe we could talk offline. I'll help you figure it out. And I'll talk to other recruiters in Florida. I got friends down there. Spike says, going to MEPS next Monday. Have to stay in a hotel. Was curious on how long should I expect to be at MEPS for. Don't know why I need to stay in a hotel when the ASVAB part, I got a ride. Yeah. So depending on where you live geographically, it's very, very annoying as us as a recruiter to wake up at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning to pick you up between, let's say, 3 and 3:30, maybe 4 o'clock to get you at MEPS by 5:30, depending when your MEPS opens up. And then we're expected to work all the way until 1700, which is 5 o'clock, right? So it's just easier to make sure that, one, you're there, two, you're on time, and you're able to process. If for some reason you don't make it, everybody in our chain of command gets a slap on the wrist. How come this person didn't make it? Why were they late? How come they didn't pick them up if they're not going to stay at the hotel? Yada, yada, yada. So it's just easier and best practice to go into the hotel the night prior. The way I work it, and many recruiters in our company, and we're the #1 state in the entire country right now, and the #1 company for even longer, is our motto is you do the PICAT at home, and then as long as you don't have any medical issues, we schedule you for test next day medical only. So we get you there at MEPS between 7 and 9 o'clock in the morning. You do the ASVAB test, you stay in a hotel, you come back to MEPS the next day, you conduct a medical exam. If you are squeaky clean, you have no issues, we'll even schedule you for the contract that day. But if we're anticipating you and getting disqualified, then you're just doing test next day medical only to get you pre-qualified, and then we'll take the next necessary step, whatever that looks like, whether it's doing a medical consultation or a medical waiver. And then once everything is solidified and processed and approved, then we set you up for your contract. But for the medical itself, if it's just medical, you can be done as early as 10 o'clock in the morning or as late as 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Zap Powell, I'm not deleting your messages. This is my first time I believe that I've seen your name on here. Possibly you're using a keyword or phrase that I have blocked for whatever reason. I apologize if that is the case, but this is the first time I'm seeing it. So you can always direct message me or shoot me an email at my Instagram at Team Swartz or my Team Swartz Media email right here. Sam says, can you get into airborne school or RASP during basic training or AIT? If they offer it to you, yes, and you're going to have to score at least a 340 to 350 or better on the Army Combat Fitness Test to be offered that if it's not in your contract. Sorry to hear that 410 money, but I appreciate you tuning in and listening in, and hopefully we can figure it out. Carlos says, I'm currently a private first class. My brother and his friend are enlisted. Can I be used as a reference to get a promotion and my enlistment ribbon? Also, can they do the buddy enlistment as well? When you say that your brother and friend enlisted, do you mean that in past tense, like they already contracted and you're trying to finagle the system to get promoted? Or do you have two new people that are looking to join to get your recruiting ribbon and maybe a promotion? And can they use the buddy program? That's going to be dependent. If you're going regular Army, buddy program is way easier. Reserve too. Guard is a little bit more challenging because it's state specific. But my best bet, if you're going National Guard and you want to utilize the buddy program, both of you get pre-qualified and both of you go back to MEPS to sign your contract on the same day. And hopefully the system has two ship dates for the same time to make that happen. What do you mean they're going to barely enlist? Like they're not qualified? I'm not sure what that means, barely enlist. Forever says, would you recommend recruits to train themselves before basic training? Yes, I expect you to hear me out in this video that's coming into the chat box. It's also linked down below for you to check out. But definitely, the more you prepare, don't kill yourself preparing, but the more you physically and mentally prepare yourself before shipping out to basic training, the smoother your transition, the quicker you can adapt and adjust to the training environment and to make the best of that situation of being there. That's what I recommend. This chair is actually quite uncomfortable. And Yo says, I'm about to start studying the ASVAB. How do I start? Oh yeah, we already spoke about that. Forever says, my buddy left behind. We're supposed to enlist together. Anyway, I can find this. I'm not sure what that means. Find this him. Go in base or go places where he'd be stationed. Yeah, I'm not really sure what you're asking there, unfortunately. Sorry, I'm not able to put together what you're trying to say there. I apologize. Please rephrase and I'll see if I can get to it. Roy says, can you reclass active duty with 13 years time in service doing whole MEPS process? I believe you can, as long as you haven't hit your, I think it's called high in tenure for your rank, you're fine. Like as long as you're like at least a specialist or a sergeant and above, you can go back in with 13 years of service active duty. And these are the last time I checked, these were the prior service business rules that I'm posting in the chat box right there. But if you have any further questions, talk to your active duty recruiter for that. If you're going guard or reserve, let me know, and maybe I can add 2 more things to that. Pinewood says I did sign an 8-year contract back in 2021, 3-year, 6 months contract, and the rest was reserved. Okay, gotcha. My buddy left me behind. Now it makes sense. Supposed to ship out together, and after my training and station duties, is there a way where I can go full vigilante and find him? I get what you're saying now is, and no, don't do that. Adwo Amu says, I just joined the National Guard. I leave for basic. Any advice? Yes, watch these 2 videos here. The preparation video, if you're still here. Let me know in the chat box if you're still here. And what to pack, because you don't want to overpack. Your recruiter's probably going to give this long ass packing list, and yeah, you don't want to do that. But keep your head down, do what you're told, be in the correct uniform, have fun, make friends. At the end of the day, you're just trying to get job qualified and all that good stuff. So make the best of it. It's going to be mentally challenging for you. Granted, it's probably going to be not medically, but physically challenging for you as well. But it's more mental. So work on your mental resiliency, and you should be fine. How soon will I know if my ship date while in delayed entry program? I would say talk to your active duty recruiter because they're more familiar with your case. But you're supposed to know what your ship date is the day that you sign your contract. So I don't know why you don't know what your ship date is. That's confusing to me. Got out in 2022, 13 years in service. Am I able to join back again, active duty and reclass? Yes. Oh yeah, good stuff. Good score. Yeah, you could definitely reclass, but the prior service business rules that I posted earlier, that's what you're probably going to have to follow. But confirm that with your active duty recruiter. Giuseppe with the hashtag Team Swartz. What's up, bud? We got Koalita Alvarez that says, in basic training, is there a way to have another alternative for the 2-mile run? So for your entire initial entry training, there is no such thing as an alternate event. You have to do the main event. So you're going to have to stick to the 6 events, which includes the 2-mile run, unfortunately. But you have over 20 minutes to do it. So in my personal humble opinion, by week 9, when you get ready to do your Army Combat Fitness Test, there is no reason why you can't do the minimum standards in all of the events, especially the run, because it's only like you have like upwards to like 22, 23 minutes to knock it out. So you could literally walk and run for 20 minutes or so and still pass it. Now, to put it in perspective, without going into the reasoning and everything, but I have not been working out for 2 years now. I may go through sprints or spurts of rucking once a week and maybe doing a workout program for a week or 2 before I get re-injured. But for the most part, for the past 2 years, I have not worked out at all, and I still managed to pass the Army Combat Fitness Test. So a lot of that's muscle memory and knowing what my limits are and all that stuff. But if you're worried about not being able to pass basic training, trust me, you're going to be fine. All right. As long as you give an F, you put your best foot forward, you can literally go from the couch to basic training and pass the Army Combat Fitness Test. All right. So don't worry about it. I got you. Watch that video on how to prepare for basic training and you'll be fine. Good luck to you. Giuseppe says, they are already annoying me about re-signing. They are like, we are going to give you responsibilities until you like. Oh, I see. Are you going to stay in or are you going to get out? What are you going to do? I'm really curious. I feel like I already know the answer, but Beaver says, taking the ASVAB hopefully next week, looking to get 35 Lima position. Do you know any information on the life as a 35 Lima? Unfortunately, I do not. Sorry. Pineywood says, they called me Wallbug quitter. I never quit. My drill sergeant Wallace knew it. He saved my life. Good stuff. Forever says, should recruits train themselves to get more of an easier time at basic training? Yeah, I answered that before. You're very welcome, Corrupted. Carlos says, absolutely, my friend, is 68 Whiskey. When you get to AIT, you will have a brief from the Ranger Battalion and just sign the volunteer form, and you'll see. Just train, eat right, and go to PT. To their PT. Admiral Nutty BB says, I can go IRR January 15th. I'm undecided on if I should extend or re-enlist. Any advice on how to make this decision? Honestly, you're like talking like 10 months out. I don't know. Everyone joins for one particular reason, but when it comes time to re-enlist and re-sign your contract, it's always going to be for a different reason. And there is no, how do I express this? Don't stay for the money or some other reason like that. Stay because you want to. And if this is something that you're just not currently feeling, then just go into the IRR. You can always get out of the IRR and into a contract. But you got 10 months. You got all until December to make it happen, or until January, whatever your date is, your get well date to re-enlist. But really weigh out your why. And if you want to talk about it in the DMs and Instagram, let me know what's stopping you from wanting to re-enlist. Hopefully it's not politics. Adwell says, what happens if I go to leave for basic training and don't meet the weight requirements? If you're more than 2% body fat before or at the time that you're getting ready to ship out to basic training over your maximum allowable body fat, then you're going to get not discharged, but you're just not going to go to training. They're going to cancel your ship date, unfortunately. Brandon Brown says, just got accepted to do AGI recruiting. Any tips from a pro? Man, I got so many. I don't have time to do it right now, but that's definitely going to be a dedicated video in the next month or two. So if you want to look out for that, let me know. But once you get accepted to be, oh, you did. You just said it. The biggest tip I can give to you before leaving is for an hour a day, read the AR 601-210 and the ALC. Start with the AR, then the ALC, and go back and forth until you ship. All right? That's the biggest thing. And then just be like a sponge. Listen to the seasoned recruiters talk about who we are, what we do, basically explain things, how they overcome objections, and make mental notes of the things that you can use and put in your arsenal for when you talk to your applicants. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's all about taking care of your applicant, even if that means taking them to another branch of service because that's what they want, that's what they need. You fulfill their need, and trust me, later on down the road, Johnny Snot Nose will see them in uniform. Maybe they don't want to go to that branch of service, but they'll refer you to you because you're in the guard. You know what I mean? So take care of all your applicants and always end things on a positive note, no matter how frustrated you are with them. Why did you personally choose Army instead of another branch? It was because of the recruiters, honestly. And at the time, I had no clue the National Guard existed and what they were. But the active duty recruiters that I dealt with between the Marine Corps and the Army completely turned me off from joining their services because they made me feel like a number rather than a human being that they were trying to help. And I'm going to keep it 100 with you. There's no way I'm going to be walking around with a bell bottoms from the Navy, the Cracker Barrel uniform, as we call it, or they call it. And the Air Force, just, I don't know, man. I grew up in the era where it was like, You were going to be a Marine or you're going to be in the Army. Nobody grew up saying, "Oh, I want to be in the Air Force." No pun against the Air Force or whatever, if that's what you want to do. But I just wanted to do something that was more challenging, whether it's the Marine Corps or the Army. And eventually I ran into the National Guard and decided, you know what? Let me get my feet wet, see if I like it, and see where it takes me. And it got me here and never looked back. No, I would definitely not recommend doing that. Thank you. It's actually it's not quite set up yet, but hopefully you like it. It's a work in progress. Given that I have very few issues with anxiety, would it be easier for those to be waived compared to those many issues? I probably didn't need therapy. They said it was the easiest pain. Gotcha. Well, it really honestly depends on your records. So follow my advice in my medical waiver guide. And if you can gather all that information, be proactive. It's possible that they could waive it sooner rather than later, but they're still going to institute some sort of minimum waiting period, somewhere between 6 months to 3 years, sadly, but true. Eduardo says, through the JAG program, will I be forced to go through the National Guard OCS or, oh yeah. That's a direct commission, so I'm not sure how that would work, honestly, because I don't do specialty programs like the JAG. So JAG, Chaplain, and medical, they are specialty. They have to go through specialty recruiters. I can only put in regular general officers, not specialty officers. But if you direct message me, I'll be able to get that answer for you. Yes, if you do the Guard, Federal OCS, or any OCS, once you complete BOLIC, your basic officer leadership course, you will be federally recognized in all three components of the Army. You're welcome, Brandon Brown. And you can always direct message me on Instagram. Don't be shy, I don't bite. If I join a 19 as a 19 Delta, where would I report to drill weekends in New York City? You don't, because we don't have any 19 Deltas in New York City. All of our 19 Deltas are at least 2 hours north of us. Closer to 3 hours. '92 Yankees are rewarding. It could possibly help you get a supply position within the Guard or Reserve if you're going Guard or Reserve. But listen, every job plays a critical role in the Army. So whether or not it's rewarding to you, I don't know because I'm not you. But if that's a job that resonates with you and that's what you want to do, then absolutely it'll be rewarding. But it boils down to your work ethic, what you put into it, and that'll determine what you get out of it, if that makes sense. Let's see. Yama says, can you sign to be a helicopter pilot in the National Guard off the street as a civilian? I live in Pennsylvania, close to Fort Indiantown Gap, and it's a big National Guard area. Yes. Actually, it's called Street to Seat, so you're close. And yes, it is a possibility. And one of my soldiers did that, but she was actually already in, but she became a flight warrant. She's actually, ironically, in the Pennsylvania Army National Guard, even though she enlisted here in New York for a different MOS at the time. She actually joined as a CBRN, chemical, nuclear, biological, radiological specialist, reclass as, I want to say, 31 Bravo, military police. And then she deployed with them. While she was on deployment, she researched everything about flight warrants. And when she came back on leave for 2 weeks, she set up her medical, flight medical, all that stuff. And she eventually interviewed for it. The New York Army National Guard denied her, and the Pennsylvania Army National Guard accepted her, and she's been a flight warrant ever since. Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. I forgot what you were saying earlier. Oh yeah, as long as they contract then you'll eventually get promoted and get the recruiting ribbon for sure. Let's see. I don't know if you saw my former message, but thank you for your help in finding out what to do with an autism way. Oh, you're very welcome. First time seeing you tonight, but yeah, you're definitely welcome. I know what video I sent you, but hopefully it works out for you. Good luck. Carlos also says, so if they do enlist with my DoD, can I get promoted, but also want to do the buddy program? Yeah, they're gonna have to work out the buddy program with their recruiter, but yeah, you'll definitely get promoted if you're not already a specialist by that time, and you'll get the recruiting medal for sure. Good luck, Edgar. Make the best of it. Have fun. All that good stuff. Jeff says, 30 years old, going infantry in the National Guard. Besides it being a young man's game, what OSA is looking like for someone who is an older person? Honestly, all the things I would have to say about you being an older person falls in this video right here that I'm posting in the chat box, if you're still here. And if you are, thank you. But yeah, you'll be fine. Trust me. You'll probably outperform a lot of the young bucks that are there. You're welcome, Carlos. Obed says, I have a foreign bachelor's degree. Plus, or please, it be possible to get enlisted in the New York National Guard as an E4 and also get state tuition assistance to pursue another bachelor's degree. So yeah, Obed, if you want to talk to me, I can definitely help you out. Instagram me at TEAM SWARTZ or shoot me an email. And yes, you can, well, as long as it's evaluated as a 4-year degree to the US standards, you will join as a specialist D4. And because your bachelor's degree was earned outside of the country, you can definitely go towards a second degree with us and get the state tuition and all that stuff. That's as described in this video here. But I got you if you hit me up. Jay Bougie says, does having a knee patella dislocation need a waiver? If they catch it, yes. It's 50-50 whether or not they approve it. Happened 4 years ago. No history popped no history popped up on my medical history and completely forgot about it until days after. Listen, speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil. What you talking about, Willis? Read between the lines. Giuseppe says, I'm already burnt out by this big Sarge, so I'm going to be getting out. But I am doing computer science and physics for my bachelor's. Then I'm applying for the FBI. That's what I'm talking about. Hopefully you get it, man. Keep doing great stuff. You usually do get kicked out or lose your commission if you get overlooked twice and possibly kicked out of the Army. Get a formal letter explaining that and resubmit it. So you need new medical evidence to provide for them to entertain a medical waiver appeal. So if you have new medical evidence, aside from like have them, so it sounds like you gave them the results, but no explanation. So you need a letter that explains evaluations of ABC was conducted, patient is XYZ. In the future, I don't see any major issues becoming of this, blah, 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 and whatever their words of wisdom on this particular issue is. All right. But if you direct message me on Instagram, we'll figure something out if you want. But you definitely need some sort of all clear letter and explanation from that specialist. All right. Very welcome, Brandon. Sounds good, Eduardo. What kind of compensation, if any, could you expect having to drive 3 hours to drill every month? No compensation. 3 hours is just 3 hours. The only thing that you might get compensation, for lack of a better phrase, is if they put you in a hotel, if they don't have a place for you to sleep at the barracks, you might be able to get approved. I know in our state, if you do more than 2 hours or more than 100 miles, then we'll put you in a hotel if they don't have like a place for you to sleep at the barracks at the government rate. So if the rate is approved for $159, but you get a room for $179, then you're paying the difference. So you'll pay for it up front, but they'll reimburse you up to the government rate. Excuse me. Talking to an active duty recruiter, but didn't know about the National Guard until I saw your channel. My active duty recruiter has been very helpful. How do I tell her? Sorry, I'm not tracking what you said previously. If you could repost it in the chat box. I don't recall what you said. I'm sorry. But I'm glad to hear that they were very helpful, though. Oh, you want to switch? Okay. Forever says, any idea on how not locking your eyes on the drills? I always keep eye contact 100% because my mama always told me that's how you respect them. Now it's a habit. Gotcha. I don't have it as a quick text, but I talked to you about the 7 different things to when talking to a drill sergeant. If you find that video, just type in seven. I can't remember what it's titled, but yeah, I have a video that talks about stuff like that. One of your videos on MOSs, you talked about this Excel link that you would have where you can take a mini test to figure out what will fit you, but there's no answer sheet to find out the results. So it's not a test. So the Excel sheet is you've already taken the ASVAB test and you have a copy of your line scores. You input those to figure out what MOSs you qualify for. The other spreadsheet that I have on there, it's not a spreadsheet, it's a questionnaire to help figure out what your interests are. So the aptitude test from the ASVAB tells you what you're capable of learning and being good at, and you marry that up with what you could see yourself doing with your life. So you match your interests based on your capabilities, and you can research how to figure out what you want to do with your life, basically. But you have to take the full ASVAB or the PICAT to figure out what your line scores are. And this is the video that this person is talking about, in case you guys want to check it out. I'd probably say once every 3 or 4 years, depending on your state and what their op tempo is like. You're welcome. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Good luck in basic training. Eduardo says, if you are in New York as to Swartz, at least here in PR, I know National Guard MPs have more deployments. It's like every 3 or 4 years, give or take. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going, but your unit may go. Stefan, how many college credits to enlist at a higher rank? So anyone who's in college, if you have 24 or more college credits, you'll join as a private E2. If you have 48 or more college credits or a 2-year degree, you'll join as a private first class E3. And if you have a 4-year degree, you'll join as a specialist E4. If you have screws in both your hips, will that be an issue in enlisted? Yes, you're going to need a medical waiver, and that's probably not going to look pretty. To be 100% with you, but yeah, so you'll have to get all the records, you have to get an all clear letter and all that good stuff, and hopefully the waiver gods are in your favor. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll be back here next week, same time, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We had some really, really good questions tonight, so I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Stay blessed, be good, and I'll see y'all next week. Team Swartz.